America just lost something it held for over a century, its perfect credit score. After 106 years at the top, Moody's delivered the shock. Now, Trump is furious, markets are shaken, and the world is asking, is this the beginning of America's financial downfall? Or just the first warning? It's a headline no one expected to read. America, the world's economic giant, just lost its perfect credit score after 106 years. For over a century, the US held the gold standard of financial trust. But on May 16, 2025, Moody's delivered a historic downgrade, citing soaring debt, political gridlock, and unsustainable deficits. Within hours, Donald Trump erupted, calling the move a sabotage of his economic legacy. As markets watch cautiously and lawmakers point fingers, one thing is clear: this isn't just a rating drop. It's a wake-up call for a nation in crisis. For over a century, America stood untouchable, the one nation with a flawless credit reputation. From 2 world wars to the 2008 financial crash, through every crisis, its perfect credit score remained unshaken. But on May 16, 2025, that legacy shattered. Moody's, one of the world's top credit rating agencies, downgraded the US from its prized AA rating to AA1, citing growing deficits, long-term fiscal risks, and political dysfunction. It was a move few saw coming, a financial thunderclap that shook Wall Street and Washington. Investors, analysts, even foreign governments were stunned. How could the most powerful economy on Earth lose the very badge of trust it held for 106 years? The White House scrambled. Phones rang off the hook. Markets froze. And at the center of it all, Donald Trump erupted with fury. This wasn't just a technical downgrade. It was a warning flare that America's economic future might no longer be guaranteed. But what does this mean for the rest of us? Stay with us, because this story is just beginning. The U.S. national debt has soared past $36 trillion, now larger than the country's entire GDP, and still climbing. Moody's projects debt to GDP could hit 134% by 2035 if policies remain unchanged. But the real concern isn't just raw debt. It's the annual deficits, now approaching 9% of GDP. In 2024 alone, the U.S. ran a staggering $2.1 trillion deficit. And here's the most dangerous part. Interest payments on that debt are nearing $1 trillion a year, almost equal to the entire military budget. Lawmakers knew this was coming. Experts have sounded the alarm for years, but Washington remained gridlocked, with both parties pointing fingers and no real action taken. Moody's finally said, enough. Could this have been prevented? Was this fall inevitable? One thing is certain, the numbers don't lie, and they're painting the picture of a superpower under serious financial strain. Within hours of the downgrade, Trump exploded on Truth Social. They're trying to sabotage America to stop me. For him, it was personal. His major proposal, the One Big Beautiful Bill, had just failed in Congress. It was meant to extend his 2017 tax cuts. But not only did Democrats oppose it, even some Republicans turned against him, warning it would worsen the deficit. Trump saw it as betrayal, even treason. His administration blasted Moody's, calling the downgrade a politically motivated hit job designed to erode faith in his leadership before the election. They blamed previous administration spending habits and claimed Trump was being unfairly targeted. Conservative outlets like Newsmax joined the fight, labeling the downgrade as election interference. Critics, however, pointed out that this was about long-standing structural problems, not one president's policies. But the damage was done. The blame game had begun, and behind closed doors, a new political war was already brewing. In music, the 27 Club is filled with legends like Kurt Cobain and Amy Winehouse, icons who died too soon. Now, economists are making eerie comparisons. America held a perfect credit score for 106 years. But in 2025, during political chaos and reckless spending, it finally fell. Like a rock star burning too bright, the US may have finally buckled under the weight of its own success. Some are calling it the economic 27 curse, a symbolic moment where years of power, unchecked ambition, and neglect finally caught up. Is this just a stumble? Or the start of a slow, historic collapse? And more importantly, can the damage be undone before another blow strikes? Unlike rock stars, nations don't disappear. They have to face the music. You'd expect panic, right? A downgrade like this, after more than a century of perfection, should have rattled the markets. But strangely, Wall Street stayed calm. The Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq barely moved. Futures dipped, then stabilized. Why the calm? Many investors say they saw this coming. The debt crisis wasn't new. The warnings had been piling up. But here's what's really worrying. Some experts think markets are becoming numb. The US dollar is still dominant, and treasuries are still in demand, for now. But what happens if confidence slips further? What if another downgrade follows? What if interest rates soar? Foreign investors like China and Saudi Arabia are watching closely. If their trust weakens, the ripple effect could be global. So yes, markets seem calm, but beneath the surface, a storm may be quietly forming. Some analysts say this isn't a sign of strength, it's a sign of numbness. The US dollar remains the global reserve currency. Treasuries still attract demand. But behind the quiet, a deeper unease is building. What happens if there's another downgrade? What if interest rates climb? What if America's safe haven status starts to crack? And here's the real twist. Foreign investors are watching closely. Countries like China and Saudi Arabia hold billions in US debt. If confidence slips even slightly, the ripple effect could be global. So yes, the markets are calm, for now. But under the surface, there's a storm quietly forming. Behind the headlines and political soundbites, the real reason for the downgrade is far more troubling and much harder to fix. According to Moody's internal report, this wasn't just about today's numbers, it was about the future. The agency cited rising interest costs, a lack of credible fiscal strategy, and political gridlock as long-term threats to U.S. financial stability. In short, America's leaders aren't just overspending, they're failing to plan. And here's the alarming part. Interest on the national debt is now nearing $1 trillion per year. That means more taxpayer dollars are going toward paying interest than funding schools, infrastructure, or even parts of the military. If rates keep rising or if debt keeps piling up, those payments could balloon to catastrophic levels. Insiders say this downgrade has been in the works for months. Quiet meetings were held between Treasury officials and credit agencies, but no one expected it to come down this hard or this fast. Why didn't anyone sound the alarm louder? And why has every administration, Republican and Democrat, kicked the can down the road? Because facing the truth means making hard choices. And in Washington, hard choices are political. For Donald Trump, this credit downgrade isn't just bad news, it's war. He believes the timing was no coincidence. With the 2025 election cycle heating up and his economic agenda under fire, Trump has painted Moody's move as a coordinated attack. In rally speeches and online blasts, he's declared they're trying to tank the economy to stop ME, not the other way around. Right-wing media echoed the sentiment. Headlines read, "Deep State targets Trump's comeback," and "Weaponizing Wall Street against democracy." Behind the scenes, Trump allies are reportedly drafting countermeasures, proposals to investigate rating agencies and limit their influence. Some are even floating the idea of launching a patriotic credit bureau to challenge what they call globalist financial control. But financial experts warn, this isn't about politics, it's about math. The debt is real, the risk is rising. Still, Trump's message is working with his base. He's not just running for office, he's fighting the system. And whether you believe him or not, one thing's clear. This battle is about more than numbers. It's about who controls the story of America's future. The downgrade has happened. The dust has barely settled. But the real question now is, what comes next? Economists warn this is only the beginning. If the government continues down this path, running massive deficits, failing to rein in spending, and refusing to pass a long-term budget strategy, another downgrade could follow. And that would be devastating. Higher borrowing costs are already on the horizon. That means mortgages, credit cards, and business loans could all get more expensive for everyday Americans. And if global confidence dips further, the dollar could weaken, inflation could spike, investment could slow. Congress is under pressure. Will lawmakers finally act? Or will partisan warfare make serious reform impossible? Meanwhile, Trump is doubling down. He's promising a debt solution like never before, but offers few details. Democrats are calling for spending caps and tax reform, but face pushback at every turn. The nation is staring down a cliff, and both parties are still arguing over the steering wheel. So, what happens next? Either America makes a hard turn toward responsibility, or we risk driving straight into economic disaster. 106 years of trust, gone with a single decision. The U.S. credit downgrade wasn't just a financial blow, it was a reckoning. It exposed the cracks beneath the surface. Runaway spending, political paralysis, and a system too divided to save itself. For generations, America was the world's rock, unshakable, reliable, supreme. But now, that foundation feels dangerously fragile. This isn't just about Wall Street. It's about your wallet, your future, your country. And as the world watches, one haunting question echoes through the halls of power. Is this America's warning shot, or the start of its financial unraveling? If America's credit can collapse after 106 years, what else is at risk? Don't look away. Stay informed, stay alert, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't just news, it's the future unfolding before our eyes. And the next chapter starts now.